Welcome to today's episode, and today I'm going to be speaking to Mark, and we're going to be doing a little bit of coaching with Mark today. So, first of all, welcome to the show, Mark. Hey, Mark.
How are you, Johnny? So glad to meet you and be on this podcast. Looking
Uh,
forward to it.
yeah, me too. Me too. Pleasure to have you on and have this conversation today. So, I appreciate you stepping up and willing to do this episode and share some value with the listener as well. So that's awesome. So, Mark, I just want to set the scene a little bit before we dive into today's session. So, what we're going to do is walk through a case or scenario or something you want to work on today. We're going to look at actually where you want to go, maybe what are one or two barriers that are in the way, and then at the end, we're going to look at some next steps and some actions that you can take away from the episode today. Now, we're not, I always like to be clear, we're not diving into any kind of like therapy or anything. We're not diving into the past or anything like that. We're not necessarily doing direct mentoring, but when we get to the point of thinking of some ideas, we'll both brainstorm some ideas together. I'll be taking some notes just in case if you see me writing something down on my paper, just so I can help you facilitate some ideas later. And there may be some cases if we feel like we're getting off, if I feel like we're getting off track a little bit, where I'll just direct us back. Does that sound good, Mark?
Sounds very good.
Fantastic, cool. And you're happy for this to be an episode?
I am. I give you my consent.
Awesome, fantastic, cool. So yeah, Mark. First of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well.
Doing very
Very
well.
well.
You seem very content, very happy today. So that's always good to hear. Cool, Mark. So, Mark, first of all, it'd be really interesting to hear what you'd like to discuss in the session today.
Well, I would like to discuss my future. I'm a
Hmm.
lifelong learner. I've always been a dreamer. Um, I'm retired, so I'm 71 years old. But in retirement, there's so many opportunities for new things. And when I retired a couple of years ago, oh, actually, before I started retiring, I started to get involved in writing. I wrote a book and self published it. I want to uh, contribute back to society and stay active and busy, learn new things. I'm trying to, I've got a YouTube channel. I'm trying to do that, be more relaxed when I do that. Um, Involved in social media. I have a website. And I kind of want to go into coaching. I'm a lifelong
Hmm.
uh, fitness. What would be the right word? A fitness. I'm not going to say expert because I don't have a doctorate degree, but I went to the school of hard knocks. A lot of mistakes in my past, and I worked at a very physically demanding job. It was a dream job. I got paid to ski, so that was good. And I still do. I still work up there part time. They allow me to come up and blow up avalanches, which is really fun. So my goal in my future now is in this learning new things is expedite the process. I'm learning a lot about the technology, how everything works with broadcast and film and doing things like that. But I'm a slow learner, but once I learn it, I've got it down. So I kind of like to focus on that, Johnny, and um, work with a little bit with my procrastination and my
Hmm.
timidity and trying to do things um, so that I don't get I don't get behind. I want to finish my life well. I want to finish my dream that I have and to leave a legacy. I think that's important. You know, we only get one shot on this earth and we're only alive for a very, very short time compared to eternity. So I want to make it count.
Mm. Okay, beautiful. So you've got you mentioned a couple of things I took away there. You mentioned about wanting to be a coach, you're wanting to deliver your like life's work. So what is it for you you'd like to like achieve in terms of the next year, for example? Would it be becoming a coach? Are you a coach already, or is it be finishing some other work?
Well, I'm a coach already. I
Mm,
you know, my whole career was in management, and a lot of that was coaching new ski patrollers in the techniques of uh, dealing with the injured, because we're all EMTs. I don't know if you know what that means.
no.
Emergency medical technician. It's
Okay.
basically, you know, we're the people out in the field that, you know, find people that are sick. Like in the big cities, you see them racing around in the ambulances, fire trucks, you know, and they deal with the injured. They get them to the hospital. That's your job as an emergency medical technician. We have the easy part, which we just get them to a higher level of medical authority where they can be treated for their injuries. So, very fulfilling job. But so I coaching is something that comes natural.
Mm,
Um, Keeping my fitness, you know, at 71 years of age, I'm in perfect health. Don't take any medications, and I want to finish my life like that. I'm a firm believer in preventative medicine, and that is kind of why I my eyes lit up when I heard about you and your how you approach life and your coaching with thinking about things, and particularly with mental health, which is a big part of our health.
mm,
So I think in today's world, there's so much distress, so much anxiety, suicide,
mm.
that we can do our part to shine a little light to make the world a better place, encourage people. I like to think of myself as an encourager. And yeah, as far as wanting to accomplish things in the next year, um, I've got so many goals. I just want to be further along. I want to finish my second book, which I'm writing. Um, I've got a good jump on it. That should be out. I'll probably release it next summer.
Okay.
So my first book was a memoir, and it
Mhm.
was kind of my story, but I tried to put a lot of fun stories in there about avalanches, backpacking through South America, um, my career, a lot of fun stories. I was what you would call one of those um, child of the '60s, and I grew up during that time. With the music was very instrumental. I was, you know, followed a lot of groups around the Grateful Dead, saw the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, all before I was 13 years old. So I music played a big part in my life. I
Mm,
still love music today, but I want to do new things. I'm
mm,
just excited about the next chapter of my life.
mm. Okay. So what I got from you is you're already a coach. You're already your fitness. You're very satisfied with where you're at with that, which is awesome. Health is wealth, as I always hear as a regular saying. You know, it's really, really important. That's something I heard at a Tony Robbins event, I think. And then, you know, you're working on your second book, and summer 2026, I believe, is something you're targeting for at the moment. Next summer, not this year. So yeah, like in terms of those things, what I'm hearing, Mark, is you're working towards them. You mentioned about so you got a few goals there, you know, just the coaching, you're continuing to do that. So I guess my question is, you mentioned about procrastination. What do you feel like is the block at the moment with those things?
Procrastination is caused not because I'm lazy or I don't want to do something.
Mm,
It's caused more because I get my I get distracted and want to do other things.
Mm,
I want to help other people. There's an old saying, if you've got too many irons in the fire is going to go out.
mm,
So I want to get more focused, single vision on finishing, like for example, this book. Just have a have a daily schedule where I can write and get this thing finished
mm,
rather than, I'm also doing a YouTube channel and I need to do more filming. I'm involved with work still where they call me up. And so I don't really have a set schedule. I would love to get a set schedule
mm,
where I have consistently every day, this is what I do. And I'm a morning person. I get up early. I'm usually up before 5 in the morning. And that's my quiet time where I like to, make my coffee, sit by the fire, meditate. I do a lot of reading, and just it's my time alone with my creator.
mm,
So I love that time.
mm. Okay. So yeah, we can talk about a set schedule today and how that looks in terms of practically in plans. Would you say for you, the book is the one of the main priorities, if not the main priority, in terms of projects you're working on?
I think so.
Okay.
I do.
Is there anything else you feel like you'd like to address, like working on, or is it the book mainly and being able to do that?
Well, the book and the YouTube channel.
Okay.
The YouTube channel is the two go hand in hand. I think for any kind of business, if you want to have a business in today's world with social media, I think it's imperative that if you're not if you don't have a YouTube channel, at least you're involved very heavily with other social media platforms.
Mm,
But YouTube is such a tool that is it's free and you can do a lot of good to promote your book or your business. So those two things, the book and YouTube, and they go hand in hand.
mm. Okay. So you mentioned about the book for summer 2026 with the YouTube channel. Tell me a little bit about where you're at with that at the moment.
Well, I love filming, but I really like to film when I'm out in the world, outdoors. When I'm up in the mountains or skiing, I like filming and taking a lot of pictures. But to be successful with the YouTube channel, you have to be a little more focused on what they call your niche,
Mm,
and you want to keep that very specific and uh, relative to what your avatar is,
mm,
the person that you want to reach. Because there's a lot of people looking for answers, and as you know, they just go to YouTube and type in
mm,
how do I change out a toilet, for example, or um,
mm.
how do I eat more healthy, or there's so much you can look up anything.
Sure. Yeah. So just going back to the question mark, with your current YouTube channel, do you have one in place?
I do have one in
You do
place.
have one in place. Okay. And what's your goal with the YouTube channel? Have you got like a set
Goal?
amount of like, for example, maybe it's a set amount of subscribers you'd like to reach, or something like that, or an amount of work you'd like to put out each week?
That would be more the goal, is to post consistently
Hmm.
on a regular basis.
Okay, post consistently. And how often do you post at the moment?
Oh, it's very sporadic,
Okay.
and ideally, it would be nice to be able to post the minimum once a week,
Hmm.
and if you could, 2 or 3 times a week would be better.
Okay. So saying 2 times a week, three possibly, in terms of posting on that one, that you'd like to get into. And then in terms of your book, you said summer 2026. If you've got, are you just aiming for the summer or a specific month?
That's a good question. would be nice to have it done by July.
Okay, by July 2026. Okay, and then you said it's hand in hand, like YouTube's going to support that, and you'd like to get into a consistent practice of posting onto that. Yeah. Okay. And just going back to the niche, Mark, you mentioned, like there's a lot of like how-to searches. Where are you with the niche? Do you feel like you've got that, or there needs to be a little bit more work on that, or is it the consistency?
I think I have the niche down,
Okay.
and it's pretty specific for for my generation. But I'd also like to reach some people that are, they're not quite finished with their career, but they're thinking about maybe retiring early and focusing on their health going
Mm,
into their latter years. Because, like you said, health is everything.
mm,
Because if you don't have your health, it really doesn't matter, because you will spend any amount of money to get your health back.
mm,
If you've ever been injured or if you've ever been sick, you know what I'm talking about.
mm,
So trying to get people to focus on their health, and the sooner you start on that, the better off you're going to be when you get to be my age.
mm,
And it's a lifelong process.
mm. So, are you targeting a specific age to talk
My
to?
Yes, I've kind of narrowed it down to people that are um, I dropped it down to about 35 to 40 years old and up to the end of their life. So
Mm,
65 and older. Um, there are a lot of people in the world that have reached what you would call retirement age,
mm,
and most of them should be fairly well off if they were diligent with their finances and didn't spend it all when they were growing up, and just did little things to save and invest, so that when you get to be my age, you still need to work. And it's really not for the money. It's more for, I just like to stay busy.
mm.
But the baby boomers, are you familiar with the different generations?
Yeah, yeah. You got uh, millennials. You obviously got baby boomers. Yeah,
Are you a Gen X or are you a millennial?
a millennial.
Yeah. It's hard to tell your age. I'm guessing you're 30.
Yeah, a little bit older. Thank
It's
you.
hard to tell. Anybody that plays soccer's got to be in good shape.
Yeah, yeah, it's no, it's good. There's definitely sport and exercise as a health promoting sport, as long as you eat and drink outside of that reasonably well as well. Because nutrition obviously has a big impact. But yeah, no, I can tell Mark, just going back to obviously your passion for creating like a YouTube and then writing, you've got a lot of knowledge about the subjects and you really want to get that message out to people like 35 and older, and then like so that they can look after their health as much as possible. So yeah, it sounds like you've got like a focus. You want to be posting like 2 times a week on YouTube, and you want to finish your book by July 2026. So tell me a little bit about the distractions you mentioned that are coming in. What are these?
Oh, they could be anything. I'm a grandfather, so
Hmm.
we get to watch our 8-year-old grandson a couple times a week, and that's sporadic. Um, I've got a house to keep up and take care of, and I do all the work around my house. The other distractions would be, um, I've got 2 dogs, so I love taking them for walks every day. They take a lot of time.
Mm,
But as far as business goes, distractions are just I don't know really how to say this, Johnny. It's more of a, I love doing things and I like helping people.
Mm,
So if people call me up and ask for help, I have a hard time saying no. Um, I have to think about that distraction one.
mm. Okay, you've got a few responsibilities. I'm hearing, Mark, like in terms of your personal and professional life, and you like to help people as well. Like if people can't, sometimes I've got a project and sales management background, and sometimes I've never had a day that goes 100% to plan ever, right? So we've all got different stories and stuff like that. So totally resonate with what you're saying about like things coming in, and that makes a lot of sense. So with the focusing on these things as the book and the YouTube to really get your like message out there, is is there a schedule you've got at the moment to stick to on that, or is that something you're just wanting to put in place now?
I want to put in place. So
Mm,
that's one of my goals for this call, and I've got it kind of worked out in my head how to do this because I
mm,
want to get a set schedule where I have, okay, from this time in the morning till this time I'm doing writing, and from this time to this time I'm doing
mm,
YouTube, and my exercise, that's this time.
mm.
So I want to just get down to set schedule.
Okay, okay. So, and do you feel like if you had a set schedule that would really set you up for success, or there's anything else that might hold you back?
No, that would help a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Let's talk that through then a little bit. So you mentioned, Mark, that you prefer the morning, getting things done, and yeah, also morning is a time when you're going to be less likely to be distracted than later on the day. No guarantees, but generally the day gets busier, as I'm sure you're aware as we go on. So for you, with the YouTube, let's start with the writing. So what would be a good commitment for you each day for the writing?
a minimum of 1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour. Okay, and what would you look to achieve in that hour? Would it just be 1 hour of writing and whatever comes through, or is there anything you'd like to hit?
1 hour of writing.
Okay,
Yeah, the editing comes later, and just the 1 hour of the writing.
okay. The 1 hour of writing, and then you'd move on to 1 hour of editing and the next processes. Okay. And is that every day? Is that every weekday or every day?
Hopefully every day.
Okay, cool. And what time do you usually get up, Mark?
5 o'clock.
Okay, 5 o'clock. So is that something you do straight away, or is it like a 6 a.m. thing or 7 a.m.?
No, it's straight away. I don't even set my alarm. I just get up.
Okay, five. So it's like a 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. of an hour writing. Sounds good. So you do that, and YouTube. What that look like in your week or a daily schedule? You said you'd like to post 3 times or 2 times a week, maybe 3 times.
Correct. The filming is the easy part.
Mm,
The hard part is the editing,
mm,
which I don't have very good experience with.
mm,
I've actually hired out a little bit of it, but that can be very expensive.
mm. Okay. So, in terms of like editing, have you looked into any like tutorials or anything like that in terms of how to edit yourself?
Oh yeah, I take a lot of classes online.
Mm,
This is another thing. I probably have during the week 4 or 5 different classes that I do,
mm,
learning new things. One of them on YouTube, a lot of them on writing, different groups that I'm with.
Mm,
So I join a lot of groups that I know people all over the world, and that's how I met you.
mm. Okay.
So
So you've got some classes on editing. Do you feel like it's giving you what you need, or is there something else you'd like to learn?
no, it's given me what I need. The problem with it is it takes time to, go through all the classes
Mm,
and watch the videos. I own the videos now because I paid to join the group,
mm,
and I am learning a lot, but it's just a continual process. I don't have a lot of free time to watch it.
mm. So how many hours worth of content is it?
The class on
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah, for the editing,
oh, it's probably 20 or 30.
20 or 30. Okay. And
Just
yeah, how much of it have you watched so far?
I probably watched about a third of it.
Mm, okay. So yeah, about what's that like 7 hours or so? You've watched about 7 hours. Okay. And does it give you like actionables to use when you watch it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool. Okay, so at the moment, you can film comfortably, which is great, and you can edit. So with the filming, when you do film at the moment, do you record it all in one go?
No, I
No.
wish I could. That's the problem. I like to be a perfectionist. So I'm always looking at it, redoing it,
Mm,
watching it, and go, oh, I sneezed there, I blinked, or I
mm,
wasn't smiling.
mm,
You you could be very self-critical,
mm.
and
Go-
that's part of the problem.
mm. Do you? What do you feel would be more beneficial for you, Mark, in terms of filming like editing? Would it be just getting committed to filming and editing now, or would you find it easier to get through like the editing lessons and then start doing some more videos?
Ooh, that's a good one. Ideally, Johnny, I would love to find somebody close by that I could hire to work with to help me with all of this because it's at my age, I'm trying to learn so much so fast,
Mm,
and I only have a little bit of time.
mm,
And people think that when you retire, you'd have all the time in the world, and I found out it was just the opposite because I found out all the things that I wanted to do and kind of put off.
mm,
So I just started doing things that needed to be done. I'm married, and so that takes a lot of time too.
mm,
To just spend time with your wife,
mm,
which I like.
mm. That's yeah, and you've got grandkids, and it's factoring in all the family time with
Yep.
your wife and your grandkids as well. So for you, what would like if you were to like film and then someone else would edit, do you feel like you'd have time for that?
I think so. I think that would. I've hired a few editors before,
Mm,
but they were remote.
mm,
So, and that takes time because you're sending things back and forth and trying to communicate with them on what you want, what kind of music,
mm,
what you want to say,
mm,
what you want to convey to your audience. And
mm,
sometimes they get it, but a lot of times they don't know what's in your head.
mm. Yeah. Okay. So what do you feel is more beneficial for you at this stage in terms of is it to do some like filming and editing all yourself, or is it to film and edit and then work with a team to do it?
I think I would like to learn how to do it,
Mm,
but then hopefully generate enough income that I could hire it out
mm,
so that I could leverage my talents
mm,
because my talents are not in technology.
sure.
It's more with connecting with people.
Mm, absolutely. Okay. So in terms of a process, there's different ways. I've seen it even as a podcaster, like doing a lot of it myself. There's different ways of creating a process around the whole idea, film, edit, scheduling. There's the option of doing it each week. There's the option of doing it bi-weekly every 2 weeks, or there's the option of doing it every month in terms of you're doing that process in that. So for you, which feels more suitable for you? Now, obviously, if you're going to do it weekly, you're going to use less hours, but you're doing it every week. But if you're going to do it monthly, it's going to be more hours, but you're only going to do it once a month. Which for you would be more, or 2 weeks is, in between. So which for you would feel like a relevant schedule?
I think weekly would be better for the
Mm,
filming.
mm.
Yeah.
The filming
Yeah.
and
Just
the
sit down one day a week.
1 day a week. Okay. And would you be doing anything else in that? Like editing?
That would be that would be everything. Filming and editing. You would try to carve out, 4 to 6 hours a day.
Okay. Once a week. And yeah, there's not to say if you go, actually, maybe I want to do this every 2 weeks that you can't change, right? But
That's right.
you got something to start off with. So yeah, just from my experience as well, I've jumped around with different experimentation as well. So yeah. So what would be the process, Mark, in those 4 to 6 hours?
Well, you would have to have your content scripted out,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, your some kind of studio setup that I need to. That's another thing I need to work on. I have an office here, but it's not very big. It's just a spare bedroom and keep the door closed. But I'd like to have more of a permanent um, setup. Right now, I'm just using my camera from my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can upgrade that, as you know, and that'll come with time. But I think the phone is good enough right now. Hopefully, the audio and the visual is people can understand it.
Mm. Okay. So you got the scripting, you got the studio set up, and then the filming. So,
And the filming,
yeah. And
just
the
press record.
awesome. And then the editing, I guess I think you touched on earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. The editing and then and then anything else after the editing?
No, the adding part of the editing is adding music, which I know nothing about. That's something I have to learn, and I think I could learn that.
Mm. Okay. And does scheduling come in there as well after you've edited or putting it on YouTube?
Yeah, then you have to upload it, which
Mm.
once you have it finished, the uploading is fairly easy process.
Mm. Okay. So you got a 4 to 6 hour process there, Mark.
Yeah,
What day would suit you to do that on?
I think Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, most of my classes are on Tuesday and Thursday, and Wednesday's a fairly open day for me.
Okay. You can commit to that on a Wednesday.
Yep.
Getting going through that whole process. So we've got the scripting, the studio, the filming, the editing, with including the music and the uploading. In terms of the things you need support with, in terms of maybe the music and you're adding in there, is that something you feel that's part of your learning already, or something else you'd need to look into?
I haven't really looked into that. I think it's coming up on
Hmm.
some of the classes that I have.
Yeah. Okay. So you got the classes already in your schedule.
I do, and they're on my computer, and I can look at them whenever I want.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we've just talked about then is in terms of a schedule for putting in some writing every morning that's 5 till 6 a.m., committing for an hour, and then when you've done the writing, it sounds like you moved on to the editing of your book. And that was daily. And then you said once a week, looking at a 6 hour process, between 4 and 6 hours, that involves all those elements from the scripting to going live on the YouTube each week. So is there anything else you'd like to fit in your schedule, or how they sound?
Those two sound good. The working in the exercise program, I want to
Okay.
get a little more consistent with that, which would involve, 3 times a week. I'd like to do the 3 times a week with strength training. I also do a little bit of running,
Mm.
which takes up a lot of time. But I also walk my dogs, and walking the dogs is every day, and that's usually 2 to 3 miles, maybe an hour, hour and a half.
Mm. Okay. So there's a
But that's
few.
time. That's
Yeah.
good time spent.
Yeah. So you've got a few activities you do, or looking to do with like walking the dog, strengthening in terms of your fitness. So what do you feel's missing from that in the schedule at the moment? Or do you feel like that's on track at the moment? Just so I
I think
understand.
that's on track. My physical health is on track. I just need to work into my schedule along with my business so that I'm consistent
Mm.
every week to week, and of course there's room for when things come up, you can skip what you have to do, or
Mm.
my grandson comes over and he wants to go swimming, I can go do some laps, and he can play in the other part of the pool with my wife, and that's a fun time.
Mm. Okay. You've got a fair few elements like with your wife and your grandson, as well into your life. But sounds like you got these in early. You're finding dedicated time to getting your writing and getting your YouTube as well as your classes, which is great. A couple of things I just want to check with you, Mark, is firstly, how are you going to stay accountable to these things? Uh, if you've got any ideas on that, how you could do that?
I do not.
Mm.
That's one of the biggest things. You know ultimately your accountability is to yourself, because you're the one you have to answer to, but it would be nice to have somebody to be accountable for.
Mm. So someone in your circle or your family you can think of?
Well, my wife, who I see every day, yeah,
Mm.
but it would be nice to have a accountability partner, and somebody that I could spend some time with on a daily basis or a weekly basis. It's hard in today's day to find like-minded people.
Mm.
I don't find a lot of like-minded people that think like I do. Um, Everybody has their life that they have to live and what they're doing.
Mm.
But I found by going with these different groups online, like Rob, and there's a couple more that I work with.
Mm.
Um, that but everybody has their schedule and everybody's busy, and everybody that is doing that, it costs a lot of money, and you'll find that out working with bestseller publishing, that they'll do a lot of work for you, but you have to pay for it.
Mm. Of course. Cool. Do you feel like you need additional accountability from someone, or do you feel like just posting it yourself? There's a few things you could do. You could post it yourself. You could write a commitment to yourself. Maybe you could share it with your wife. Maybe there's an opportunity to reach out in those groups where someone else is looking for accountability. You may not necessarily be working with a coach, But yeah, what resonates for you?
All of the above. I'm open to options,
Mm,
but I do want to find something that is easy and works for me and my lifestyle.
mm, mm. How about just ticking something off to yourself each day to start off with that and see how that goes?
You mean just like a have it on a whiteboard and just checking it off?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
or just writing it down or just like ticking off that you did today. Because sometimes even the reward of ticking something off can produce that feeling of dopamine for us.
That's right.
Mm. Maybe we begin with that. But maybe some ideas will come to you in terms of other accountability that you think of, whether that's reaching out or finding someone else in the group as well. But maybe you commit to that to begin with. Also, want to talk about linked to that, Mark, is just the kind of final thing is how are you going to celebrate when you do it each day?
That's a good one. I have to think about that.
When you do your writing and then when you do your weekly filming and editing?
Yeah, that's a good one to think about.
Hmm.
Yeah, take my wife out to dinner.
Take your wife out to dinner when you
Yeah,
do it for a week. Love it. That feel good for you?
yeah, that feels good.
Awesome. I'd also encourage if you can think of something daily as well, because you get those daily like hits of like, yes, I've done something. Whether that's even just like a pat on the back or jumping around and celebrating, which sounds a bit crazy, but our nervous system wants to do more of it when we feel good about it. So it doesn't have to be something massive. It doesn't have to be like you're paying yourself like like loads of money or going out for a massive holiday each day or anything like that. But just even feeling good each day can reward ourselves as well.
That's a good idea.
Just putting a smile on your face, patting yourself on the back,
It's good.
celebrating each day. Cool, Mark. So yeah, we talked about some actions for you today, and then some ways of being accountable by just ticking off, and then also rewarding yourself each day, feeling good, putting that in, and then taking your wife out to dinner when you've done it for a week. Is there anything else you feel like is missing, or does that feel complete for you?
No, that feels complete.
Awesome. Well, I want to like congratulate you on coming up with a schedule, and yeah, excited to see you writing your book, and obviously we're in the same group together, so we'll see our writing journeys as well, and look forward to seeing some of your YouTube videos as well, Mark, as they come out.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Johnny. You have no idea how how you come across. You came across as just very relaxed, and you accomplished a lot in this past 50 minutes.
I appreciate it. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you, Mark, for sharing your goals today. So I'm going to wrap up there with our episode. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.